I go out with my dog and my gun for to shoot, all down by the banks of Kildare. So be easy and free when you're drinking with me. I'm a man you don't meet
I don't know.
every day.
There's so many variables in the human body that
I have acres of land, I have ships I command, and I've always a shilling to
When I was
spend.
running today, it was extremely windy. I'm sure you guys noticed that. And it was a very hard day. Dirt was blowing everywhere. That's why I'm a little bit late. I just couldn't make the mile. Sometimes I'd be running and the wind would hit so hard that I'd actually stop for a second in the air when it hit me, and then my foot would hit. I mean, it was powerful. It was powerful. But I was thinking about what I want to talk to you guys about tonight. And oftentimes, I have a really difficult time thinking about that while I'm running. But a story came to my mind about Pablo Picasso. When he was an old man, he was on the street, and a woman walked by and said, "Mr. Picasso, could you do a drawing for me, and I'll pay you?" He says, "Yes, ma'am, I'll do that." So she gives him a piece of paper, and in 10 minutes, he makes a sketch of this woman. He says, "That would be 50,000 francs. She says, "Well, Mr. Picasso, it only took you 10 minutes. He said, "No, my dear, it's taken me a lifetime." And I love that story. To be excellent at anything, it takes a lifetime. We're never transformed overnight. Change can happen in an instant, but transformation takes a lifetime. We can decide in one moment, like, I'm going to change. I can start living differently. But that transformation goes on until 6 minutes after we're dead. We're always growing. I love another person I was thinking about today was Socrates. And weird things happen when you're running 35 miles a day. You run out of your own thoughts very quickly, and then random things start coming in. So I was thinking about Socrates and how Socrates spent his whole life pursuing the truth about man. He talks to the carpenters. What does it mean to be a good carpenter? You guys have all read. You guys all know. What does it mean to be a good metal worker? What do you have to do to be excellent at this? And all the craftsmen, all the different trades, they could tell him, this is what it means to be excellent in this particular craft, in this particular art. And then he brings it home. What does it mean to be a good man? You've told me what it means to be excellent in this, in this, in this, and all these particulars. But universally, we all need to be great men and women, to be a good man, a good woman. What constitutes a good human life? And he was so obsessed with that question, he would never let it go. And then when he's on trial, I'm sure as you guys have read as well, it's the funniest thing. He's like, instead of death, I propose you treat me like an Olympic hero and give me free meals for the rest of my life for the service that I've done to this city. That's what he actually proposes, because he believes that seriously, that what he's doing in challenging every single person he meets to think about their life in that way. What does it mean to be a good man, to live a good human life? And he was willing to die for that. He wasn't going to capitulate at the end. And then at the end, when he realized they weren't going to treat him like an Olympic hero, he said, "Okay, I'll pay a monetary penalty. But I will not stop doing what I'm doing, no matter what you decide to do to me." And then he embraces his death. He doesn't fight it, doesn't try to escape, and he dies. It's not very hard, in my mind at least, to make a little jump from Socrates to Jesus. It's very similar. He shows up on the scene and starts doing a lot of the same things. He starts irritating a lot of people. He starts asking questions. He starts teaching in new ways that people aren't used to. He starts saying things with a conviction and an authority that people aren't used to hearing. They don't know where that's coming from, and it scares them. And they're getting angry because he's challenging something at the core of their being. Right? He's preaching his sermons. He's teaching through his parables. And eventually, he irritates people to such an extent that they decide we need to kill him too. Something about human beings, when enough of us get irritated, we just need to get rid of that one thing. Who's that one person, that little fly that's just irritating everyone? Let's squash it. Let's get rid of that. Because we like to be comfortable. We all like, when we all get together and we all agree on the same thing, we like to live there. We don't like someone coming and challenging the status quo of our lives, pushing us beyond. And that's what Jesus was doing. He's really trying to draw them out. What does it mean? What is a good human life? What are you made for? What is your telos, your end for which you were made? You're teaching us about the kingdom of heaven. What is that? What is the true kingdom? This is the kingdom you're made for. His teaching was so bizarre, so radical, so far out, people couldn't imagine that. But what he decided to do was invest very heavily in a small number of men. It's 12 guys. You know, it wasn't the most effective, Mr. Stan was just talking about marketing, it wasn't the most effective marketing campaign. I mean, let's go on a 3-year camping trip with these 12 dudes and just talk to them a lot. And then I'm going to die, and I hope you guys are able to go get the message out there. You know, I'm sure Judas, I mean, this is like, it doesn't seem like a good idea. And, you know, I'm sure Judas as well was probably saying, you know, there are better ways. We could do this. Let's plan it out this way. And I love what Fulton Sheen says about Judas. You know, he knew the cost of everything, but the value of nothing. It's like, I'm sure there were a lot of people suggesting other things. It's like, no, I prefer face-to-face. I'm going to be face-to-face with you for 3 years. And in that time, you're going to get to know me. You're not just going to get to know about me. You're going to know me. You're going to see the way I sit, the way I eat, the way I drink water, the way I laugh, the way I walk. You're going to see the way I pray. You're going to watch me every time I leave to get away from you guys because I need to go commune with my Father in heaven. You're going to see that too. You're going to learn how to live by being face-to-face with me. You're going to know me, not just know about me. And I love that. That model, face-to-face. You know, people ask us, it's been pointed out to us by a few people, you know, guys, there are more efficient ways to talk about Sebaste than running across America. Again, not the most efficient marketing campaign. You reach a very small amount of people. Here we are in this brewery. This is amazing, by the way. I've never been out here. This is awesome. It's like, I ran 2,000 miles to get here, and here we are. This is it, right here. And I love that. I love that, because everyone that needs to be here is here. Everyone that needs to be here is in this room right now. We don't need to be in Oklahoma City, in an arena, with a blanket. No, this is what God wants right now. But face to face, that same way. And in New Mexico, we get a small amount of guys every year. Very few. We've had 20 guys a summer in the past. Now it's getting smaller. We have 12 guys in one program and 12 guys in a new initiative that we're launching. But what we're doing is we're investing extremely heavily in a small amount of men for 10 weeks and seminarians in the future. We've had a lot of calls from different vocations directors from different dioceses in Georgia and Florida. They want to start sending their seminarians through here, maybe St. Louis as well, as part of their prepedeutic year, kind of a pre-formation, or what they said on the phone, a screening process for them to just help them get on a better track going into seminary. But there's all these things queued up that could be. But we're following that model. We're going to invest extremely heavily in you for 10 weeks. And in that time, hopefully you don't just get to know us. We want you to get to know who Jesus Christ is. I'm 36 years old now. I'm only just beginning to get to know him, which is so insane. I grew up in a Catholic family, went to an incredible, most of you guys probably all know about St. Gregory's because a lot of you guys, all your kids went there, all right? Or some of you actually did go there, Brian here. And something St. Gregory's gave me, we used to sit around in our beds and talk about how can we win honor and glory. We would talk about that when we were 17. That's what all we cared about was how do we win honor and glory? How do we do the greatest thing possible? We hadn't quite made the jump to Christianity. We were still stuck in the Iliad. So we hadn't quite made the jump out yet. But St. Gregory's does a phenomenal job of putting, kind of like Socrates, It stamps the most important questions in your brain, and it stays there forever. No matter how hard you try, and believe me, I have tried, you can't escape that. That question is always there. How do I live the best human life? How do I be a great hero? How do I live out my own calling to greatness? Because I know I'm made for it. That's another thing St. Gregory's does for you. It convinces you of the truth that you are made for greatness, and you are made to do great things in this world. And you leave knowing, like, I am. When my star rises, I'm on it. I know it's coming. I'm made for this. Just like Pope Benedict says, it's kind of become a cliche at this point, but it's because it's true. It's like the world offers you comfort, but you're not made for comfort. You're made for greatness. I spent my whole life pursuing that question, sometimes much more intensely than others, but it's never left me. And so many young men today, they are starving for that. They know they're made for more, but they have no idea what that even means. They have no idea where to go. They're lost and they're confused. And it's just because you go to a school like St. Gregory's doesn't mean you figure that out. I taught there for 7 years after I graduated. The headmaster was my best man at my wedding. I know St. Gregory's very well. These guys too, just because you come from a great school and a great culture doesn't mean you got it figured out. These guys are suffering in ways we can't even imagine. Every single one of them. And you all know this. I'm preaching to the choir here. There's a serious identity crisis going on in the hearts of young men. Because the world is telling them all these other things and whatever this maniverse, all these voices going on out there. And they all have an idea of what it means to be a man. And their voices are very loud and oftentimes very attractive and persuasive and articulate. And these guys will latch on to one of those voices like, okay, I'm going to do this or this. Oh, let me change after 6 months. I'm going to go follow this voice. I'm going to try this out. Because what these guys haven't had is they haven't had a real encounter with Jesus Christ. They've learned a lot about him. They may have even cracked open the Bible on occasion. I didn't even open the Bible until I was 21 years old because I thought it was a boring book. Why would I ever want to read the Bible? No one showed me how beautiful and incredible that could be. And when I discovered the scriptures, literally, it's so insane. At the age of 21 and a half, completely changed my life. I was in a cabin in Kansas, living in a cabin by myself with no running water, no electricity. I just read the Bible like 4 hours a day. When I wasn't working, I just sat there and read that. And that changed something in me. That doesn't mean I know everything about Scripture. I'm not a Scripture scholar. But something grabbed my heart. Like, there's more here than what meets the eye. There's more to Christianity. And I realized I know some things about Jesus. I go to Mass on Sunday. I've heard some homilies. But I don't know him. I want to have the experience St. Paul had. Like, what happened to that? Like, what makes these guys willing to die for this? Not just a one shot. I'm going to make one decision and take a bullet. Like, we all kind of imagine, especially guys, like, I'd do that. I'll take a bullet. Taking a bullet maybe isn't as hard as taking the bullet every day. All right? When you're married and life is hard and there are different things going on. I only got married 3 months ago. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay? but I've seen it. You know what I'm talking about. You guys know. I don't know what I'm getting into yet. But it's more than that. We got to get to know him. And these guys don't know him. And they don't know who they are because of that. They don't know who they are. And something we do, what we really work to do, what we just drive at as best as we can. It's funny, God doesn't need us. He doesn't need us out in New Mexico to be running our little man camps out there. But God delights in secondary causes. He loves it. He set this thing up so we could participate in this. He loves that. He wants us to be part of it. And we're like that little kid from the Gospels. See, we got all these people up here, Jesus, and you're preaching, and that's great. They've been here for 3 days, and they have no food. What are we going to do now? So, well, what have you got? And some little kid's like, hey, I got a loaf of bread and 2 fish. You want it? And Jesus says, yeah, I can do a lot with that. And then he feeds 5,000 people. Like, we can't be afraid to give our loaf and 2 fish. Like, I don't have a lot going on right now. I'm running across America. Who cares? It doesn't matter. But it's what I have to offer. It's my little thing. I'm like, hey, God, you know what? Just because this is the little thing I have to offer you right now, I'm not going to say, oh, this is so small, it's not worth it. I'm just going to keep that. I'm just going to keep my little loaf and my fish over here and just go about my normal life. I'd make a lot more money doing that. This doesn't pay a lot. It's just like you're just in a world of pain and you get no money. And you live in a van and your wife lives in Virginia. It's like not exactly my idea of a good time. Okay? But it's what I've got right now. And I am so confident, more confident than I have ever been in my entire life. God, I'm going to give you this little that I have, and you're going to do something big with this. And I have no idea how you're going to do that. And you know what? I don't care, because that's not my job. You'll figure that out. My job is to show up every single day and get in front of people face to face. I don't care if there's 20 people in the room. I don't care if there's one person in the room. And say, hey, you're made for something more. Everyone in their own sphere of life. People that are married, people that are, your kids are all out of the house almost. Younger guys that aren't married. Me. We all have that different mission, but we are made for that. We are made for that greatness. How do we give the little we have and offer that to him right now so he can multiply that? And these guys are starving for that. They need someone to help them see that they have something that's worth it. It's worth it. And you got to learn how to offer that to God and give it up. You know what's so sad is these guys, and this is something me and a friend of mine, we've just been kind of wrestling with over the past 5 years, is because we did the same thing. We drank that Kool-Aid hard. Like, if we just work out enough and train enough and read enough good books, let's optimize our human potential. Just being obsessed with optimizing every single thing. And we realized with God, somehow that wasn't working out well. I had the perfect schedule. I had daily mass. We got my holy hour in there. I'm going to the gym 2.5 hours a day. Then I'm running in the afternoon. I feel awesome about myself. I'm reading good books. Of course, I'm living by myself. Developing virtue in my own little vacuum. We all know how that goes. As soon as someone else steps into your little world and challenges it, you realize, well, I'm not as virtuous as I thought I was. But when I live alone, man, I'm really good. And we realize, there wasn't room. We weren't able to design relationship with God into the schedule. And we realized we're missing something in our lives, and it hurts. And eventually the pain gets so bad, you're like, all right, this needs to stop. This hurts too bad. And human life cannot be this painful. I don't believe God designed it to be this painful every single day. Moments of it, but not every day forever. We're missing something. We did a lot of work with a good priest friend of ours who was actually our former teacher at St. Gregory's. He's now a priest he's the head of formation at Kenrick Glennon Seminary in St. Louis, Father Orem. And he completely changed our lives when we were at St. Gregory's, and he continues to be our sounding board in changing our lives now into our late 30s. And he told us, he's like, you guys are great. You're really virtuous pagans, but you have no idea who Jesus Christ is. And that's kind of a hard thing to hear. I thought we were doing everything right. We were working so hard. We're doing all the things that everyone says to do. And we're missing the mark. So we've spent the past 3 years trying to figure out who we are. And we realized, no, we're not that unique. It's just uglier in an older person. It's more understandable in a young person. All right, it's worse when you're older. These guys are in the same boat. They don't know God, they don't know Jesus Christ, and they don't know who they are. They don't understand their identity as a beloved son of God the Father. That's who they are. A beloved son of God the Father. And that's a hard thing for these guys to understand. They're very confused about that, and they want that. Because they want mission. They know they're made for a mission and they're made for more. But they can't go on their mission if they don't know who they are. Because mission flows from identity. I have to know who I am. And if I firmly believe that I am God's beloved son, that God loves me so much, a lot of us don't even know what that means. I didn't really know what that meant. I still don't. I'm still trying to figure that out. But that God, like in the parable of the prodigal son, when the son wanders off into the far-off country, into the Kora Makra, the great emptiness, and squanders his inheritance out there, but eventually decides, maybe it's better if I come home. As soon as his father catches a glimpse of him, he runs to him. That means every single day, this old man was just staring off into the distance where his son left. And every day, he's just straining his eyes, looking and waiting. And as soon as he catches a glimpse of him, he starts running towards him. Like, that is our God. A lot of young guys don't understand that. They think that God's love is based off of, it's merit-based. It's performance-based. If I lift enough weights and I do enough good things by my own little metrics, then I'm acceptable to God. This might sound crazy to you guys, but this is what they think. Almost all of them, without fail. They all look great on the outside. Big guys, they're all strong, they look good. Talk a big game, but after about 5 minutes, it's extremely clear. These guys, things are not okay in here. Things are not okay. And that's the root of it. Because they don't understand the love of God the Father. That's it. They don't understand that. You know, they go to confession. It's fine, I'm not telling you any details. We meet with them one-on-one for an hour every single week during the summer and have some pretty intense conversations that they get to dictate. Say, hey guys, we're going to sit in this room for 1 hour. If you want to sit in silence, just you and me, I'm fine with that. But if you want to talk and get down to the weeds about your life and actually get out of the place you're in and stop hating yourself, you should probably talk to me. They talk about all sorts of stuff. All sorts of things come out. And I forget where I was going with that, so I'm just going to jump on a different track. Sorry, I'm tired. But they're struggling very hard with that. They go to confession, they come out of confession, they don't believe they're forgiven because God's forgiveness is too good to be true. They still feel terrible when they come out of confession. They feel terrible for a couple days until they get back on the little program that they designed for holiness. And once they've been living that out for a few days, like, okay, I'm acceptable. Now I can go pray again because I've been doing good things according to me for the past 3 or 4 days. Now I can come back before God. When in reality, what God wants is in that moment of sin, just turn to him. Like, guys, you're never going to stop sinning. That doesn't mean you don't fight it with everything you got, but it's probably going to keep happening. Don't despair over that. Just learn to turn to God sooner. Turn instantly. Don't wait. Don't wait a week. Don't wait 2 weeks. It's incredible what happens when they start realizing that God doesn't hate me when I sin. He hates the sin because God's looking down. He's saying, man, I hate it when you sin. Not because of anything you did, because this sin is destroying my son. I can't stand to see my son, my beloved son, being destroyed by this thing. That's what he hates, guys. He can't stand to see you in pain. He wants to get rid of that. He wants you back now. These guys think they can't go back. Like, I messed up, I can't go back. So what we're trying to do in New Mexico, there's all like the flashy things. You see little videos of, you guys have all, you see it in Navy SEAL stuff. It's people doing all this hard stuff and it looks all macho. Like, that's all just to break in. Because for a lot of young guys, something I've realized from working with them for a long time, when they go through an immense amount of physical pain to the point where they're breaking in ways they don't even know because they've never been able to push themselves hard enough to get to this place, something in here starts to break and things start coming to the surface. They're not strong enough in those moments to keep all the stuff that they've stuffed down, to keep it down anymore. It starts coming out. And in that moment, okay, now we got to invite God into that space right now. But sometimes it takes a lot of physical discomfort to get there. And this is something I've learned in my own life through ultra running. I'm not going to tell you this whole story. I'm going to tell you an extremely abbreviated version. My first 100-mile race, I was monumentally unprepared. I had ran a 50-mile race 4 weeks earlier, and I won it. And I set a course record. I'm like, hey, maybe I'm pretty good at this. Let's double it. So 4 weeks later, 100. I had a 16-ounce water bottle. I didn't have any food, didn't have anything. Everyone else is all geared up with all their packs. I'm like, why does everyone have so much stuff? It's like, maybe I didn't get the memo here. So I'm leading the race until mile 75. I'm in first place. It's dark. I never had the experience of starting to run at 5 a.m., 25 degrees. It's cold. It's dark. Running, watching the sun rise. The sun goes all the way up, seems to stop. It goes all the way down, sets, gets dark, and you just haven't stopped running. You're still like, what is happening? My first experience of that. I've done it a lot since then, so I'm a little used to it, but that was so crazy to me. Sitting at mile 75, I'm super tired. I see a headlamp coming down the trail. I thought I had a massive lead on the guy in second place. I'm like, oh my gosh, he caught up. And in that moment, I decided for the first time in my life, I'm going to give everything I've got to something. Because I'd never given everything to anything before. And this is a dumb thing to give everything to, but I decided I'm either going to win this race or they're going to helicopter my dead body off this trail because I literally died trying to beat this guy. I will leave nothing in the tank. Nothing. I'm going to give everything I have for the first time in my life to this. A very noble thing. So, so dumb. So I just gun it, and it's dark, and I'm running. I clock my fastest 10-mile split between mile 75 and like 85. 85 to 90, I'm still moving, but I'm feeling it. 91, getting a little slower. 92, all of a sudden I'm not running anymore. I'm jogging. I'm like, what is happening? Now I'm hiking. I'm still trying to go as fast as I can, but that's all I can muster. And then I'm walking, and then I'm shuffling, and then I just stopped, and I fell over. This had never happened to me before. I'm like, what is happening? Like, walls are for weak people, not for me. It's like, I don't hit walls. Like, I smash them. I don't go, that doesn't happen to me. And I'm sitting there lying in the dirt for 20 minutes. I couldn't get up. And it's cold. Now it's 25 degrees again. I'm in a cut-off t-shirt with no water, no food. I'm like, how does it come to this? It's like, I'm going to freeze to death here. And so for the next 20 minutes in my head, there's the one voice saying, if you don't get up, you're going to freeze to death. And the other voice is saying, that doesn't sound so bad. If you just stay here, you read those books about the Arctic explorers and they're writing in their journals and they just slip off. That sounds pretty peaceful. I could do that right now. After about 20 minutes, my life won. So I got up. It took me 3 hours to walk 3 miles, which is like a baby could crawl that fast if they could sustain it. I get to the aid station at mile 97. I skipped a few miles there. Mile 97. It's a 106-mile race. So there's 9 miles to go. My little brother Kevin had come out to crew me for that race. And my teeth are chattering so bad I'm shivering. I can't talk. Kev gets me in the car, cranks the heat. After about 45 minutes, I could talk again. I'm like, Kev, I'm done. 97 miles in, and I'm in first place. There's only 9 miles left. I'm like, Kev, I'm done. I can't do this. I can't do it. Like, I'm done. Let's go back to the hotel. And I love what Kev did in that moment. What I really wanted Kev to do was be like, oh, yeah, man, that's tough. You ran 97 miles. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, let's go back to the hotel. Let's call it a day. That was good. I mean, most people couldn't do that. I kind of wanted Kev to do that, but Kev didn't do that. That's what I love about Kev, is Kev doesn't care when you're in pain. Instead, this is what Kev does. Kev's sitting in the front seat. He's rolling a cigarette in one hand. He's just looking at me. He's got his cowboy hat on, his boots, and he's like, you drugged me out here and wasted my entire weekend so you could run this stupid race. He's like, we're not going anywhere until you cross that line. He's like, I'll wait you out. And just kicks his seat back and starts smoking. And in that moment, I wanted to kill Kevin, but I couldn't because I was too tired. So I fell asleep in the front seat for 4 hours. And in that time, the guy actually wasn't behind me. I was hallucinating. I thought I kept seeing his headlamp. I actually had like 7-mile lead on this guy. I could have comfortably just run this race out and won it. So I burned myself out. He passes me in the middle of the night. I wake up though, he's already done. But I'm in second place still. But I see third place is coming down the trail, about a half mile. Kevin says, okay, we're done now. Kevin gets out, opens the passenger door, pulls out, I had all these cactuses stuck in my leg because I couldn't lift my legs up, so I was just kicking them as I was going. Kevin pulls out all the cactuses, ties up my shoes, and just grabs me and starts pushing me down the trail and just shoves me off. And then he drives to the finish line, puts on my old pair of race shoes, runs 5 miles in, meets me, and then finishes the last 5 miles. So I ended up finishing it in second place. It took me 27 hours, which is not a good time. But the point of that story is, guys, like that's God the Father in so many ways. I didn't even want to go. You just don't actively resist. Kev got out. God pulls us out. He'll pull all the cactuses out. He'll push us down the road. As long as we're not saying no. I mean, I was just like, it wasn't resisting. And I only finished because of Kevin. But I couldn't finish it on my own. I'd given up. I'd hit a wall that I couldn't get through. And all these young guys, like everyone's going to hit a mile and 97 in their life. Everyone's going to hit that. It's going to be that thing that comes up like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. But they got to have that real relationship with Jesus Christ. They have to know that they're a beloved son of God the Father. And yeah, you know what? When you can't do it, that's okay, because God can do it. He can do it for you. He can help you finish that. Man, that's so powerful. It's so simple, but it's so powerful. So what we're trying to do in New Mexico is help facilitate an encounter through a lot of strange ways. Sometimes don't look very good on paper, but I know they work. Because I've been experimenting on St. Gregory's guys for a long time. Okay? And I know what works, I figured out what doesn't work. But facilitate an encounter with Jesus Christ and then get out of the way. And let them meet. That's what we're doing, and it is so important. And God's doing things down there. And you know God's working because you see the people involved and you're like, that would never work. That wouldn't work if it's just those two guys, because we know those guys and we know what they used to do and we know who they are now. God loves secondary causes and he loves weird secondary causes. But you know what we're never going to stop doing? We're never going to stop going for this. And we're trying to raise $250,000 right now as seed money because we've had so many people calling us from all over the United States that want to come, and we can only accept a tiny fraction of the guys that want to come every year. For the past 4 years, we've been operating underground. We've had over 100, 150 guys with not even advertising wanting to come to this program. We can only accept 12 to 20. Now it's getting even more. And now seminarians want to come and all these other things. And we're trying to design more stuff because there's a need. And I believe God wants us to do this, and we're not going to be afraid to give the little we have. I'm going to take my little 2 fish and my loaf, and I'm throwing it out there. I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. And I don't care what happens, but I'm going to give everything every single day, and I'm going to keep showing up every single day and giving every single thing I have to these guys. And God's going to heal me through that. And I'm going to become the man that I'm made to be through doing that. And hopefully, if we stay out of the way enough, and we facilitate that encounter, and we create an environment where these guys can meet Jesus, not just learn about him, but actually know him. Imagine a bunch of men walking around this world that know Jesus Christ. This place would look a lot different. Would look a lot different. I'm excited to see what that world looks like. I totally believe in that. That's all I care about. A lot of my friends don't like hanging out with me anymore because I don't talk about anything else because nothing else matters. That doesn't matter. Eternal salvation is the only thing that matters. Full stop. Like, when are we going to start taking that seriously? Willing to cut everything else out except that. Our life is so short. We got a brief time down here, guys. Time is so short. But it's exciting. So let's give it all right now while we have it. Let's not put our hand to the plow and look back. Let's just go forward. God's gonna make it happen. So thank you guys for listening, and if Spirit moves you to make a small donation so we can continue our pilgrimage, talk to this guy over there and he'll show you how to do it. But thank you guys for your time, and I hope you have a great night. Thanks.
A couple real quick logistical things. We have a prayer intention book over here. So if you got any intentions you want Johnny to suffer or pray for, he does 4 rosaries a day every day and offers all the pain for the things that are in that book. And I don't look at them, so yeah. There's also 2 business cards for each of us over here, little piles of business cards if you want to get in touch with either of us for any reason you want to put us in touch with somebody along the route. There's flyers. And then as far as funds, we're about 7 days and $2,000 away from having to auction off the van. So we're on track, but we're behind the 8 ball for funding. So we're halfway there. We're halfway funded for the trip. 250K later. So Venmo's right there, and then the other one's for the website.
Every